railway leads through one of Europe's oldest civilizations, Greece. Chosen by the gods is how the Greeks like to present their land. Old gods like Zeus, Apollo, and Aphrodite lived their tumultuous lives here. Philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle worked here on their theories. Greece, the cradle of democracy, a journey by train, and also a journey through antiquity. Our trip starts on the Greek peninsula Peloponnesus and proceeds from the little mountain town of Kalavrita to the coastal town of Diakofton. Immediately we observe it is a special section that we cover. It is only 22 kilometers long and winds through beautiful mountain country. The line we take is over 100 years old and bridges a height difference of some 800 meters. In early days, the journey was done by steam train, which was replaced in 1959. It must have been quite a task to build the railway. The hard and dry stone created quite a barrier for the railway workers. And then 6 bridges had to be constructed across a winding little river. All of this made the little trip worthwhile. The way to the coast is a steep decline. Between the rails, one can see the gear wheel which holds the train. After less than an hour, we arrive at the coast. Diakofton is the end of the line. Here, a larger train stands ready for the continuation of our journey. Diakofton is an intermediate station on the road between Patra on the western part of the peninsula and Greece's capital, Athens. We travel right across the peninsula towards the Greek capital. Our train will arrive at the Peloponnesos station, one of the 2 largest railway stations of Athens. Apart from Greeks, many tourists are also found here. With a backpack, they travel through the country by train. The history of the sweltering city began with a competition between Athena, goddess of wisdom, and Poseidon, god of the sea. Both of them desired the city. The one who gave the most useful gift to humanity was allowed the city. According to legend, Athena won by giving an olive tree. The old gods would not recognize Athens anymore. Europe's most southern capital is on its way to bursting its seams. Everywhere concrete suburbs are mushrooming from historic ground. A continuous stream of Greeks leaves the countryside for the city, which in the meantime has grown to a population of 3 million. Still, it is a pleasant city, where the sparkling life takes place primarily in the open air. Though the city is busy, there are still plenty of rustic spots where the visitor can enjoy Greek coffee or a glass of ouzo in a caféon. Unmoved in the midst of modern traffic, numerous monuments from ancient times remain. The almost 5,000-year-old city lies hemmed in by hills. The finest view of Athens is from the centrally located Acropolis, on which there are matchless ruins.
The Acropolis is not a building, but the hill. Acropolis in Greek means the top of the city. And on top of cities, in the beginning we erected palaces, and we protected the hill with walls. And as it was the highest spot, it was called the top of the city. Polis in Greek means city, Akron the highest spot. But when we had no more kings in antiquity, because all the Greek cities were independent city-states, we had governors, we began to erect on the hill sanctuaries, temples, where they worshipped their ancient gods.
Showpiece of the Acropolis is the Parthenon, which means Temple of the Virgin. A poet once called it the most perfect poem in stone. Certainly a fitting description. The marble structure consists of 46 columns, on which once rested a wooden roof. The columns are somewhat thicker in the middle and lean inward. Every column consists of 12 stacked drums. Together with the convex floor, the Parthenon is perfectly symmetrical. At present, the scaffolding covers part of the old building. After almost 2,500 years, it is due to be fixed up.
It has suffered very many damages because of wars, because of earthquakes, but pollution also is doing a very great damage to the Acropolis. That's why we began to take a very great care to try to avoid pollution. We don't allow cars to go on the hill, or we don't allow tourists to enter the buildings inside, so we see them from around. And we began to remove the statues and place them in a small museum on the Acropolis to save them. And we have begun some restorations.
Not only on the Acropolis stand centuries-old monuments. In many places in Athens, remains of antiquity are found. Even now, valuable finds are still being made. The city, and actually the whole country, is a paradise for archaeologists from all over the world. The city has few historic hills on which there are magnificent buildings. This cable train takes us to one of them. The city, at the foot of the hills, offers a fine view. The church here on top contains many beautiful icons. To some of these icons, miracles have been attributed. This one icon is supposed to have saved thousands of women and children in 1458. The icon itself caught them as they jumped off the Acropolis while fleeing from the Turks. Most of the Athenians are Greek Orthodox. All over the country there are tens of thousands of small chapels. They've usually been painted white with a blue dome. Many Greeks go to such a church or chapel almost daily for a brief visit to pray or light a candle. We're about to leave Athens. In the harbor of Pyrrhus, dozens of ships lie ready. They ferry between the hundreds of islands in the Aegean Sea. Greece has to maintain its name in the area of seafaring. Almost 10% of the total world fleet sails under the Greek flag. But these days, the majority of these ships are in the hands of foreigners. They pay taxes to the Greeks, but the profits go to their own country. The ferries that go to and fro between the islands are in the hands of 5 or 6 affluent Greek families. In summer, these are loaded to capacity with tourists. We are on our way to the Cyclades, a group of islands. The fresh air does us a lot of good after the smog over Athens. The sea around Greece has no less than 3,000 islands. A few dozen are inhabited. The islands are of fascinating beauty. Together with their sunny climate, they have become favorite holiday resorts. An important part of the island's population make a living from fishery. Every island has its own harbor where small fishing boats lie dancing on the water. Over the last 15 years or so, the wooden boats have the company of ever more luxurious sailing vessels and motorboats. The tourists on these yachts go from island to island. Although the Aegean Sea can get very rough, the distances to safe harbors are never very great and always within reach. The Greeks are always ready to guide their guests on donkeys through often tiny villages. The Greek are proud of their country and like to show this to others. They are a hospitable people, and a tourist must not be surprised when he's invited to have a meal in a Greek home. Accompanied by seagulls and the setting sun, we go back to Athens and to the train. Larissa Station, the central one in the town, is situated in the eastern part of the city. It looks well kept. However, for a capital with almost 3 million inhabitants, Larissa Station is touchingly small. It has only 3 ticket windows and 3 persons in attendance. The train that we want arrives exactly on time, unusual for Greece. In most cases, the timetable is of no use to the one who waits for bus or train. But no one is worried. The train arrives in time, though departure is delayed. After a delay of some 40 minutes, we leave. Slowly, the white Larissa station moves past us. We're on our way to the second city of Greece, Thessalonica. A trip of about 6 hours. Once we're outside of the city, we roar through the Greek landscape. Halfway on the trip, we pass Mount Olympus, which according to legend was the dwelling place of the Greek gods. Here the highest god, Zeus, reigned over family members like Apollo, Hera, and Hermes. Modern Greeks relish their history, but are so interwoven with it that they're not always aware of it. The train has made good progress, and by the time we arrive at Thessalonica, we've caught up on the train schedule. Thessalonica is named after the sister of Alexander the Great and was founded about 300 BC. It is the capital of Macedonia. Over the centuries, this region changed hands between numerous occupiers, such as Romans, Normans, and Turks. All of these have left their cultural marks. Of these, the White Tower in the harbor is the most evident. The tower dates from the 15th century and was part of an enormous fortification around the city. Thessalonica, next to Constantinople, was once the second city of the Byzantine realm. Its history can be found all through the city. Beautiful old buildings everywhere. The marketplace near the harbor is busy every day. The Greek kitchen clearly shows Turkish influence. Olive oil, lemon, oregano, and garlic are common ingredients. Apart from meat and fish, the Greeks eat a salad containing small pieces of feta cheese with almost every meal. Everything is freshly purchased, and this means going to the market daily, not only for food, but also for daily talk, where no one, of course, is in a hurry. At a walking distance of about 10 minutes, we find one of the finest church buildings of Thessalonica. It is the Agios Dimitrios. The building stems from the 7th century, and at the height of the Byzantine period, it was very important. The church was twice struck by fire, the last time in 1917. Not much was left of it before the restoration commenced in 1948. Now it is restored in all its glory. The church, with numerous beautiful mosaics and icons, is much frequented. Near the Agios Dimitrios lie the ruins of what was once the city. Here hard work is being done on the restoration of the old Forum, dozens of centuries old. The Forum was the center of Thessalonica's city council. Around the square, surrounded by the colonnades, many buildings once stood.
We are in the heart of the modern city of Thessaloniki, and it was the heart, of course, of the ancient city of Thessaloniki. We are in an ancient forum, a Roman forum. This forum planned from the 2nd century AD and lived until 4th century AD. It was an administrative center of the ancient city where the public life took place. We found a small theater, an odeum. The odeum is for musical events mostly, and also we have found some other buildings here for public life, as a coin kiln for the coins of the city, and also a library for the archive of the city.
It's a strange sight to see the forum between modern offices. The whole block must once have been 2 hectares in size. In 1962, the forum was discovered when a court of justice was built here. Under pressure of the population and archaeologists, the building was postponed to make a search. Quickly it became clear what a unique discovery the forum was. After a continual tug of war, it was decided to leave the area vacant.
In 1969, finally, this place saved, and they decided to be an archaeological site. And from this year on, we tried to find some financial sources to reconstruct it and to give it to public. Finally, we found all these things in 1989, and we started to reconstruct the buildings and to make some new constructions here to give this place to public. We tried to prepare it for 1997, where Thessaloniki will be the cultural capital of Europe, and we hope that we'll finish the Odeon, the theater, the small theater, and the Cryptoporticus.
And so the old Greek culture is alive and well in modern Greece, a culture that is not only apparent in the buildings. When the sun sets over the Olympus and the temperature drops, the Greek look for the numerous small cafes. They like to celebrate, and naturally, traditional music and dancing goes with it.